Hi, my name is Britt, and in this video I'm going to show you how I made a replica of the wooden Lego duck.
Wait a minute, this is not a Lego duck?
Actually it is. Let me give you some quick information about the history of the Lego company. Most people probably associate Lego with these small plastic building blocks. But before the founder of Lego, Ole K. Christiansen, bought an injection molding machine in 1948, he solely produced wooden toys. I always wanted to get one, but sadly they are rather expensive. The wooden duck was produced between 1935 and 1960 and is definitely the most famous wooden toy Lego ever produced. There were even 2 Lego sets created to pay homage to it.
Wait a minute, this is not a real set?
True. This one was only given out to Lego employees in 2011, and since it's quite expensive I only painted a box black. But this is really not the point I'm trying to make. Can we get started?
Oh, yes, of course!
I bought this wooden Lego toy even though it is broken because I wanted to fix it later. Taking a closer look at it, I'm pretty sure that it is made from larch, so I decided to use larch for my wooden duck as well. I started by planing a board I found in my workshop. You will need one board with a thickness of 18mm, one board with a thickness of 8mm and one with a thickness of 4mm. Sadly, I can't plane to a thickness of 4mm and therefore use plywood for those pieces instead. If you don't have a planer, don't worry, you can make the ducks out of any wood you would like. These are 2 prototypes I made and they are entirely made out of plywood. Once you're done planing the boards, print the templates that I've created. There's a link in the description to an Instructable where you can download them for free. Cut the pieces apart so that they fit onto your wood. Once you are done, use spray adhesive to attach the pieces to the wood. Next we are going to move on to the sewing, sanding and routing. Now onto cutting the pieces. I use the scroll saw to do so. There are black lines, blue lines and green lines. The blue lines are needed so that you can hold the piece during the routing and it should help you with getting better corners. So in the first go, cut along the blue lines as well as some of the black lines shown in the video. You should cut precisely around the black lines and somewhat close along the blue lines. Sanding the pieces is pretty straightforward, but make sure not to remove the templates just yet because we're going to need them later on. Here you can see me routing the pieces. Afterwards you will have to go back to the scroll saw and finish cutting along the black lines. Now onto the drilling and assembly. As you can see here, I use the hole saw to cut the wheels. Drilling the holes is pretty straightforward. Just follow the numbers that are printed on the templates. The green lines on the front piece of the duck mark a 7mm hole that needs to be drilled. Mark the center of the hole on top of the duck and drill all the way through. Make sure that the piece is standing perfectly upright, otherwise the mechanism won't work. Now use a 6mm round wooden pole and cut it to a length of 63mm. You will need 2 of those pieces, they will be the axles later on. You will also need a 108mm long piece, it will be needed for the mechanism. Now we are going to glue the pieces together as shown here. My plywood had a small defect that I fixed with a wooden filler. Now we are going to glue the eyes to the head. Send a little bit of the head away and make sure everything moves smoothly. Now we are going to glue the duck to the bottom. Make sure that the long pole fits through the hole and weigh everything down. Finally, we are going to move on to painting the duck. I primed my duck, which of course you don't have to do. I use carbon copy paper to trace my design onto it. Now we can finally start painting the duck. Make sure that the varnish and all the paints you use are safe for toys. Once you are done painting the duck, mark the middle of the front axle and push the pusher onto it. Now drill a small hole into it. Place the axle into the duck and drive a small nail into it. And cover the hole with glue. Drop the long pole into the hole and make sure everything works fine. Glue the wheels onto the axles. Cover the wheels with paint and varnish. Now attach the head to the body with wire, make sure that you haven't forgotten the pole. Congratulations, you are done!
Please consider subscribing for more awesome DIY projects.